Holy cow, it's been a week without an Archfiend video. No football to talk about. I sure as hell don't want to talk about any other sports in Philadelphia. Like, am I supposed to tell you, like, oh, I'm pumped for spring training, guys. The 99-win Phillies are about to take to the field in Clearwater. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, the Flyers. They're going to kind of sort of either just miss the playoffs or barely get into the playoffs. Let's get excited. Oh, boy, the Villanova Wildcats are ranked #1 in the nation. Get back to me when they can at least make the Sweet 16 in the tournament, and then I'll have an ounce of excitement. Or I could just rant about something. I could rant about YouTubers. Been there, done that. I could talk about something that's on my mind. Been there, done that. But you guys want to see me entertain. So what's on my mind? I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you a new series of videos here. And I know I've said I make a new series of videos and then I always bail on it, or I do a couple and then I go like, I don't want to do that ever again. This time I'm going to try and stick with it, all right? I owe you guys at least a video a week. Well, I don't owe you anything, but I could take time out of my day just to give you one video a week. Is that too much to ask, Archfiend? Yes, but I'm going to do it anyway because I exceed expectations like a mofo. So, what I want to do here is give you what's on my mind. This is, I guess, kind of like Boogie 2988's rambling series where he just talks about whatever's on his mind in the earth and the universe and everything around him and all that stuff. Like whatever he says, I forget. Yeah, anyways. I want to talk about stuff that's in the news, stuff that's on YouTube, stuff that's making your crotch itch, that's disgusting. Hell, I might even talk about the size of New Dog's poop every morning. It was huge. Anyways, topic covered. First off, let's talk about something that's in the news. Judge Antonin Scalia of the Supreme Court passed away a couple days ago. Thoughts and everything are with the family. It's a very sad thing, but there's a bigger story coming from this in that Barack Obama, the current sitting president, now has a chance to select a member to get voted on by Congress or Senate, a new Supreme Court justice. Now, Judge Antonin Scalia was more from the conservative end of justices, so it was like someone that's more favorable for the Republican Party to have as a sitting justice on the Supreme Court. So now Barack Obama can tip the scale back to a majority of more liberal-minded, democratic philosophy, if you will, judges. And Republicans are pissed. They were hoping that Antonin Scalia was going to live into the next presidency because he wasn't expected to live past the next presidency, and that a Republican would be in office and that you would get a more conservative-minded justice back in there. But now, for the first time in 40 years, you have a chance to have a more liberal-minded Supreme Court. This is huge. And I've been on record saying that I think Barack Obama is not that good of a president, and history's not going to remember him as that good of a president. I think the majority of what he's done has been relatively seen as failure, or just not being able to accomplish or get respect from his working peers in Washington to get elected into president and have a Democratic majority in office and then lose it to the Republicans 4 years later after his reelection. But even during his first 4 years, he had trouble passing stuff. He had trouble passing stuff with a Democratic majority in Congress. Like, that just doesn't happen unless you command respect. And Barack, for whatever reason, didn't on most issues. That being said, if Barack Obama can get this done, get Congress, Senate particularly, to approve whatever justice that he chooses, I will give Barack Obama much respect for doing so. Because right now, the political world that doesn't have a D after their name is against him. Do I think he's going to get this done? I think he will, because one of the things that is going in Barack Obama's favor right now is that not only is it election year for the presidency, but there's a number of Senate seats up for bid as well, and a number of congressional seats as well. And if negativity of public opinion turns towards, why don't you guys stop being so stubborn and let the sitting president just do their job? What are we supposed to do? Wait another 10 months, have an even number of Supreme Court justices. One of the main reasons why there's an odd number is so that there's no tie votes. Even though you do have abstentions from voting and whatnot, and you still get tie. Anyways, I'm not going to go over the whole process with you. Anyone that is arguing their case in front of the Supreme Court deserves the right to have a full panel of Supreme Court justices. 10 months of time left on Barack Obama's presidency is more than enough for him and his office to research and find a proper candidate. If any Republican wants to talk about how that's just not enough time, it shouldn't be a rushed decision, I could pull out 100 names of Supreme Court justices that were picked, nominated, and seated in under 10 months. In fact, the far, far, far majority of all justices in the history of the United States Supreme Court have been picked and placed in under 10 months. So stop it. And as for the argument of, and I'm trying to bring out all the devil's advocate points that Republicans are bringing up, as for the point of, do you like what Barack Obama has put on the Supreme Court thus far? You want him picking another Supreme Court justice? I don't care whether you liked it or not. It's his right and duty to fill that seat. This is an important election year. You shouldn't be voting and picking a Supreme Court justice in an election year. It should be something that is a task taken on by a new president. So let's get this right. Barack Obama shouldn't be rushed to this in election year with 10 months left on his time in the Oval Office. So we should have a new president come in. So this new president shouldn't rush to things. Should take at least 10 months to select or start the process, if you will, of bringing a new Supreme Court justice. So that brings us to 20 months. Maybe there's a little bit of a couple months overflow from that. So we're seriously going to say, yeah, we should wait at least 2 years before we have a full panel on the Supreme Court again in the United States. Are you kidding me? Stop with the ridiculousness. And anyone in Senate that is going to hold up and filibuster and do anything else to keep a new justice from being seated, they should get voted right the fuck out of office. Anyway. What else is going on in the news? Any MMA fans out there? Jon Jones is the current sitting light heavyweight champion. Well, granted, it's a suspended title because he keeps breaking the law. And Johnny Lawbreaker is at it again. Jon Jones was arrested in Bernalillo County, New Mexico last week. Or not last week, it was the end of January. It was like January 31st, a couple weeks ago. This dumbass, who has the brightest future ahead of him in the UFC, got cited for driving with no license in an unregistered car, and there's a third charge that I'm forgetting. There's no license in an unregistered car. Oh, and he didn't have insurance. Jon Jones last year had a hit-and-run accident with a pregnant woman. Got in an accident, injured her, lacerations, broke her arm, and said, I'm out of here, and left the scene. Previous to that, Jon Jones took his Bentley, wrecked it on the side of the road, and got charged while driving while intoxicated. Previous to that, Jon Jones, oh, by the way, that DWI was also driving while having a suspended license, which was taken away previous to that from a previous driving violation. This guy cannot be allowed to drive ever again. And on top of that, why are you driving without a license in an unregistered car with no car insurance? I want to see this fight with him and Daniel Cormier so bad, which is supposed to happen at the end of April. Now Jon Jones, who is on probation for that hit and run accident, is now being considered for, is this a violation of his probation? Because you're not supposed to violate any laws, but now the New Mexico whatevers are saying that, oh, maybe it's not a probation violation, it's a driving violation. It should be handled with the driving courts, not the actual law courts. This guy is he's just a mess. He's like my favorite fighter if it wasn't for all the screw-ups. My God. Why does someone with this much talent in a sport I love have to mess up so bad? Christ, John. Get your shit together. This guy is unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. Anyways, I'm not even holding my breath that Daniel Cormier fight is going to happen at the end of April. It's just... Peyton Manning. Well. Likes to take his junk and put it on someone's head and then have daddy have the court case covered up. You know what? I'll give you my thoughts on this in a later episode because I think there's going to be more that comes out on this one. So I'm just going to say, even though I don't believe in it, let's let karma take its due course here and see what type of legacy Mr. Golden Boy has when this is all said and done. What else is on my mind? What else is on your mind? By the way, if you guys have stuff that you want to hear me talk about, leave it down in the video description. So let's end things today with a little bit of discussion about the Fine brothers. I must admit that when this whole Fine brothers thing went down, I thought that they were going to lose subs for just a couple days. They were going to bounce back and the negativity was going to fade away. I got to admit, even though I think all that is eventually going to be true, I got to admit, this amount of negativity that is hovering around them and still sticking is blowing my mind. Like, I didn't think that anything could be done. Like, short of, smashing a puppy in the head with a hammer and having it caught on video, that anything could be done from a mega star on YouTube, and that so many people would hold this much hatred towards them. But it is sticking. Every new video they upload is getting thumbs downs out the ass still. Getting negative comments. Still losing subscribers. The channel is still bleeding, still struggling as I'm struggling to find the words. Still struggling to get a positive growth in subscriptions. And this ain't just yesterday that this happened. This is going on weeks now. Like, holy shit. Yeah, and this just... I thought things were going to go back to status quo in the matter of 5 days, but man. The internet hates these guys. I love it. I like seeing the mighty crash. What can I say? I'm evil. I'm really, really evil. Hence the name of the Archfiend. Anyway, I'll try and get at least one of these out for you guys once a week. I mean, that's really the least I can do. Is it really that hard to do, Archfiend? Is it really? You just walked around in your little place, den, dining room, and no fire on today, by the way. It's just, even though it's cold as shit out. Anyway. And are you annoyed with the walking around? And by the way, I've been filming stuff on my Samsung Galaxy S6. People have been asking, did I get a new camera? No, it's just actually my cell phone camera. It records better than my $650 Panasonic HD camera that's upstairs. Anyway. What do you guys want to hear me talk about? You have a say in this too. You can hit me up on Twitter. You can hit me up in the comments, even though I just barely get the comments anymore because I'm just like that super lazy. Anyway, have a good day, guys. And may your week continue on now that you've got your Archfiend fix. And happy President's Day. Go buy a car, because according to the radio and TV, that's what I'm supposed to do. Bye.